Hello again, and welcome to another Seawolf's Den's version of RPGaDay 2018. This is day 8. The question today is, how can we get more people playing? I deal with that kind of thing on a regular basis because, at least for the past 16, 17 years, because I've been involved in several different conventions, but primarily my energies focus on the Just Us Productions Mace events here in Charlotte and in Asheville and up in Kernersville. Our big one is Mace, the big Mace. That's in Charlotte in November, and we have Mace West in Asheville that usually takes place in March, and then several smaller day events, mini Mace in Kernersville, and we're tangentially involved in other things like Recon and stuff like that. And I also run gaming for a science fiction convention through Just Us Productions called Con Carolinas. So we look at the demographics that come in through the doors, and I'm always trying to get more and more people to come in and play. While Mace has a solid core people that I see every year for the most part, I do see different faces on a regular basis as well. Yes, the core tends to be of mid-40s, late 30s, sometimes even late 40s age, but we do have fathers and mothers coming in, bringing their kids. So it is getting passed on, and that's the number one way. I'm being a father of 3. I try to at least instill a sense of game to my kids, and they all like to play games, and they come to the conventions I run and enjoy themselves. If we don't carry on with the next generation, this hobby will die. So we all have to remain active despite our natures or despite life. If we want to keep this hobby going, we have to be welcoming to younger players. Conventions is one of them, but I'll admit they're touch and go. You'll get, for every good one, you might have 2 or 3 not so good ones, because people get involved in these conventions thinking they're easy, and they're not. And then another way to really participate, and I think it's a stronger, more consistent way, is through game stores. The local game stores that I've seen recently know and realize that they're not just a place for you to go and buy stuff. They're making room for players to play. And I mean from miniatures to board games to card games to role-playing games. Every store is different. Some stores cater to the magic type crowd, and if the market calls for it, they're going to do well. Others cater to the board gamer community. I got one near my house that primarily caters to the board game community, and it is hopping on a regular basis. But it also has role-playing. So for every 3 board game tables they have at least 1 role-playing. Getting involved in the community is another way to get involved, or get more people to play. If people see more people playing, they'll get involved, and you got to be welcoming. And I know that our demographic tends to be the geek with social anxiety, and they're not always welcoming. I do realize that, especially in the role-playing community, there tends to be a certain type of person that does GMing, and then there's usually a couple of people that will say they'll never GM. Well, you really should try it. The more GMs we have, the more opportunity we have for games, and that's what's unique about role-playing, is that there's a dynamic associated to that you need a game master who's ready to tell a story. Yep, it's a little extra work, but with utilities online and communities online, you can get a lot of help and get a lot of preparation done. So just get more involved in the community, being more involved as a game master. I know life doesn't allow it. You have to allocate a certain amount of time to hobbies, and you have to allocate a certain amount of time to family and job and all that. Lord knows I'm very familiar with that. I raised 3 kids. Got one going to high school this year, and I've got a job. But I work it in because of my passion for the hobby. One of the other questions that I still have to answer is the first question: why do I love RPGs? This is directly related to this question. Why do you love it? Figure out why you love it, and then try to pass on that passion to somebody else. Show it to them. Show what makes you so passionate about RPGs. I started out this discussion with kind of a generic approach, just telling you to get involved in whether it's role-playing, board games, or card games, regardless. And that's another way. There's gateway games that people can play. Get involved in those. You don't have to limit yourself to role-playing. But for instance, I've gotten my kids into classic game of Talisman board game. They love it. Well, I keep telling them they need to try Dungeons and Dragons, and I need to run that and show them how it's similar but a lot more free formatted. And I do think they would enjoy it. I have to find the time to run it for them. Introduce people into those gateway games. I know that makes it sound negative, but if they get passionate about the one thing, then they can easily get into more and more as time goes on. Well, I hope that was at least entertaining or insightful. Until next time, seek the wolf in thyself.